clamping down on my dark squares. So he plays king h2, and I play my crude rook g6. Anyway, at least I freed the bishop if I wanted to move it in some variations to c6, because this rook is supporting that e6 pawn. He plays f3, blunting my queen scope. I take on c4. He takes, and I play a4. So this passed pawn can be blockaded, and he does so. Rook a3. And also the rook can serve to come later to the c file if he wants to build up for d5 later. I play rook b6, and now he plays an interesting move, queen e3. I'm not sure that's that optimal. It didn't need to be. He didn't need to be playing super precisely on every move. He just needed to watch my clock go further and further down. My diminishing time will mean even bigger mistakes later. So all he needs to do is keep a bit of pressure going. After rook c6, though we've reached the first time control, or the only time control, I get an extra 15 minutes, which doesn't really help much. I haven't got too many resources to play around with. This bishop is still awful. In fact, my good friend Costas Karyonis, he had a similar kind of disastrous queenside bishop in one of his Southend games, the only game he lost at Southend. And he now thinks that anything with this structure and this bad bishop is very bad news for black, probably losing. He's probably right, especially if white has this dark square bishop and there's no challenge to that. So anyway, queen c8, and because it's not that miserable about black's position, it's saying 0.44, so somehow the evaluation's not totally brilliant for white. It's less than half a pawn in theory. But maybe I made things worse now with another committal pawn move. Instead of rook b6 or rook a6, and try and provoke my opponent to play d5, I played actually another committal pawn move, h6. And he just plays queen d2. So now it's starting to emerge. He's going to do something with his queen. He's going to play queen b2 and torture me on these dark squares, which I can't challenge because I haven't got a dark square bishop. And it's at this point, with diminishing time on my clock, that also I had a memory of that game I kind of managed to draw when I was a piece up. And in that game, I had the idea, actually, that if I get short of time, maybe a good idea is to try and centralise a knight. So I, as a default sort of plan, if I ever get in that kind of position before, where I don't know, what to do, but messing around with the knight here, moving it from b4 isn't the hottest idea in the world. But I'm probably lost here anyway. White's going to build up pressure more and more on my dark squares. After knight a6, bishop e5, I manoeuvre it to c7. So I've got some vague ideas. Knight e8 to f6, knight h5, with an obviously dangerous attack in my dreams. But he plays queen b2, so I play knight e8, now queen b4, and now I had this, with minutes left on my clock, I had this idea, if I give up the a pawn, doesn't that mean, maybe his queen will take a bit more time to get to his king? So this is the time I must launch my attack. So I play queen d8, offering the a pawn, sacrificial pawn, which he snaps up. I play queen g5. Unfortunately, it's very, very easy in this position for white to parry the threats of black. He just plays rook g1, and after knight f6, he's not really that worried either about knight h5 ideas, which might in some variations look dangerous, if f4 and queen g3, or in fact this virtual pin this on the d5, because knight d5 is available. He plays queen d1, and for a moment now I was excited. I thought maybe he's missed knight d5. So I play knight d5. He just casually retreats the rook. He invites my knight in, but now he just casually plays queen e2. I've got nothing here. This is what I mean. I think, you don't want to be strategically lost, especially against the Russian grandmaster. That's what I've been saying all along about these, Katovian trees of analysis. Why would they want to have critical positions when they can just positionally murder you instead and not have critical positions? Why would they want to think like a tree? That's the question. So, I just played rook b6, and he really extinguished everything now and starting his own threats. Well, I'm playing a lovely move g4, and I'm just being dismantled here. I play f4 with a couple minutes of my clock. He snaps up my rook, just takes on f4, and I offer my resignation. And funny enough, I don't know if maybe I should have resigned earlier out of respect or something, but he didn't really want to do much post-mortem analysis of the game. He said he was alright. And that's the first opponent I've had in about 20 rated games who hasn't wanted to go over the game, and that includes, I think, people that have lost to me. So this is a winner not wanting to go over the game. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I made myself look even more of a patzer than usual by this inspired knight movements or something, or giving him the dark square bishop, or just playing f5, which no one's ever played before. So anyway, I felt a bit sad the day after, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do this video because I still felt disappointed with my play from a positional point of view. But I thought, well, maybe you guys would get something instructive from it, at least not to play the same way I played the opening. If you're going to be playing against bishop c4, there's some tactical resources here. You can just leave the knight on d5. No need to passively move it. But also, the strategic play of white, against this pawn chain, simply leaving the pawn on f5 is quite instructive. Just undermining c4, and then just playing for these hanging pawns with the constant threat of d5 to torture black. That's kind of instructive. My compensation was very little for this. So playing d5 because I really didn't want this central collapse happening. Let's see. There were some other variations which we'll leave to the sidelines. Let's just emphasise the strategy of this game and how it went wrong. So white had a very good dark square grip, tried to generate some counterplay which would have worked against someone 100 points lower maybe, but he kept control all the way and now started torturing me on the dark squares with these queen movements, as well as just making sure I'm losing more and more time on the clock. So he picks up my a pawn and is ready to just extinguish the temporary threats against his king. So even inviting that pesky knight to come into e3 just means more tactical liabilities for me after g4. My position's completely overloaded here. Oh well. I did actually have another game against him like a year or more ago where I was actually better a long way through. I was white, and that was an English opening. Maybe I could put that on YouTube. It was before I was doing YouTube videos actually. So no, maybe it was more than 2 years ago. But that was a much better performance. So sometimes I think it depends on the comfort level out of the opening, how strategically good you're going to play. The more comfortable you are, generally, you latch onto the more appropriate plans. And here, out of my comfort zone, I didn't really do that very well. Okay, please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.